Yeah, this inflation number coming in, the media was painting it all wrong, saying it was a terrible inflation report. No, the core inflation number, which is what the Fed looks at as
strips out food and energy.
Yeah, but that's what the Fed looks at, and that's what they raise or lower rates based on.
I gotcha.
It was lower than expectations, so it was actually a pretty good inflation report.
This thing wraps up within the next 2 or 3 weeks. I think this will be a flash, cost spike that was worth it, because we're going to get something I call the peace dividend. That's going to be a multi-decade, great Pax Americana for all of the world.
Inflation was 4% in March. You felt it. I felt it. We all felt it. 4% in March. And it's going to keep going up despite the COPE that we just heard from various Fox News anchors. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. If Biden were the president right now, is that the kind of commentary that we would hear from Fox News? Oh, the report says inflation is 4%, but that's actually a good thing. That's actually a good thing. Let's talk about the peace dividend. What peace dividend? The war against Iran has led to the complete destruction of oil and gas infrastructure that will literally take years and years to rebuild. What is you doing? Like, what are you talking about? Even if the war ended today, it's going to take years for prices to come down if it ended today. But Fox News actually would like to see the war keep going. So I would like them to explain to me, as more and more energy infrastructure gets destroyed in the Gulf, as the Strait of Hormuz is blocked by now, I guess, the United States, as the Houthis and Iran respond to that by blocking the Red Sea, at least transit through the Red Sea. How is this a good thing? And when are we going to expect that peace dividend? These people think you're stupid. And you should find that insulting. But while Americans are paying more at the pump, big oil, those companies, they're making out like bandits. They might love this war, actually. So let me give you the details on that. So there's a stunning new analysis in The Guardian. And here's what they claim. The world's top 100 oil and gas companies banked more than $30 million every hour in unearned profits in the first month of the US-Israeli war in Iran. Okay, not every day. 30 million every hour. Yeah. So during the month of March, the average price for a barrel of oil was around $100. And just for context sake, prior to the war popping off, the fact of the matter is the average was around $70, $73, I believe, right before the war started. But thanks to Trump and Netanyahu's war of choice, which is looking more and more like a quagmire, the biggest oil companies and gas companies, by the way, made $23 billion in windfall profits. That's just in profits. And if the price of oil remains as high as it is, those companies stand to make a lot more money. So there is a possibility, given how corrupt our political system is, that oil and gas lobbyists are hitting up Trump and egging him on to keep this war going longer. I wouldn't be surprised. That's my speculation. But they love their profits. And if they see an opportunity to make more profits, yeah, sure, bomb more people, kill more civilians, keep this war going. So The Guardian estimated just how much in extra profit the top 100 companies would make if the price of oil remains at $100 a barrel for the rest of 2026. So it is likely that the price per barrel is actually going to go up higher than that. But let's just assume it stays at $100 a barrel for the rest of 2026. How much money are these companies going to make? So Saudi Aramco, the state-owned Saudi Arabian oil company, would make over $25 billion in extra profits, just extra profits. Rounding out the top five are Kuwait Petroleum Corporation at $12 billion in extra profits, ExxonMobil with $11 billion in extra profits, Gazprom at $10.8 billion in extra profits, and then you have Chevron. Oh, poor Chevron. They're at the bottom of the top five with just $9.2 billion in extra profits. Gazprom is worth dwelling on for a moment because it is a Russian oil company. It is. Ukraine can't be happy because the fact of the matter is we have lifted sanctions on both Iranian oil and Russian oil in order to increase the oil supply to kind of keep the price under control. Okay. As a result, Putin and Russia flush with cash. Okay, so let me read it to you. According to the analysis by the Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air, here's what they found. The conflict has benefited Vladimir Putin's treasure chest, with Russia receiving oil export revenues of $840 million a day in March. That's 50% higher than in February. Just think about the hundreds of billions of dollars in military aid we sent to Ukraine to try to fight off Russia. And now we are, because of this war that we started against Iran, Russia is also making out like bandits, just like the other oil companies are. And so the American companies in the top 10 are ExxonMobil, Chevron, and Shell. Chevron's chief executive, a gentleman by the name of Mike Wirth, sold $104 million worth of Chevron shares between January and March. I mean, he might have been better off holding on to those shares because they're probably going to increase in price. We'll be back with the news, but first, I wanted to tell you about something that's helped make my day a lot more efficient, and that's CookUnity. CookUnity has helped me stay balanced and nourished with my everyday meals, especially when I have so little time to cook. They're the first meal delivery service bringing you high quality, locally sourced meals from award-winning chefs right to your door. I just tried their spicy rigatoni alla vodka with crispy basil breadcrumbs. The best part was that it's low sodium, soy-free, and even peanut-free, yet packed with so much flavor. CookUnity makes it easy to eat well while trying a variety of cuisines from all around the world. Every meal is handcrafted by chefs and made in local micro kitchens, not these large production facilities. Your food arrives fresh, never frozen, in packaging that keeps meals fresh in the fridge for a whole week. There are hundreds of dishes to choose from, and the menu is updated constantly. You also get 7 different dietary preferences: vegan, paleo, pescatarian, gluten-free, dairy-free, and more. Experience chef-quality meals every week delivered right to your door. Go to cookunity.com/TYT or enter TYT before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code TYT or going straight to cookunity.com/TYT. And keep in mind that so far, when it comes to all these big oil companies, we've been telling you about the fact that this is just extra profits. This isn't like, oh, a little bit of a bump. No, all of this money is profit on top of the money they were already making. And so they were already making a ton of money, hand over fist. The oil and gas sector has made an average of $1 trillion a year in pure profit every year. The fossil fuel sector also benefits from explicit subsidies that totaled $1.3 trillion in 2022, according to the International Monetary Fund. And so it is a problem when a disastrous war is a money-making opportunity, a price gouging opportunity by the fossil fuel companies. And it's not going to change anytime soon. The people who suffer are, of course, number one, all of the civilians who are killed, all the people whose countries have been bombed to smithereens. And there's that silver lining, though. And that silver lining is that the wealthiest, most prosperous corporations and companies across the globe make money off of all of that suffering as a result of all that suffering, as a result of all that war. The US is shipping a lot of oil around the world. In fact, we had been doing that even prior to the war. We are the #1 exporter of fossil fuels. I think most people are unaware of that, but it's true. We do not have nationalized oil or gas. So when people talk about how America is energy independent, that doesn't quite make sense. We don't have nationalized, fossil fuels. So private companies get to sell to the highest bidder. That's how it works. And we do export a lot of our oil and gas. The US became a net exporter of gasoline in the 2010s under Obama, and the world's largest exporter of motor gasoline in 2024. Luckily, though, Ro Khanna is offering, well, it comes across as Khanna offering a solution, and who knows, maybe that's what his intention is. But by doing this, he is raising awareness to the big lie that we've been sold by Democrats and Republicans for many years. This whole idea that we're energy independent because we're drilling more. Drill, baby, drill. Americans are gonna be better off. Do we look better off, or do oil and gas companies look better off? So here's what Khanna said. He told The Guardian that Americans don't want another costly war. They want good jobs at home and people abroad. Gas prices are going up and companies are driving up costs. We should be focused on competing with China and investing in American manufacturing, not spending $1 billion a day in this war. I agree with him wholeheartedly. And his solution is banning gasoline exports to other countries, which is kind of like nationalizing our gas. No, it's not going to happen. But the only way to keep prices down specifically for Americans would be to take control of the fossil fuels. That's not going to happen. And I think it's actually important for Americans to see the consequences of Trump's war in Iran, to really feel it. I don't want people struggling. But it's important for Americans to know that just because you spend $1 trillion a year on your military doesn't mean you need to go around starting wars, especially on behalf of a belligerent pariah state like Israel. These are the consequences. So you need to make a decision. Do we maintain our alliance with a country that doesn't respect us and sucks the life out of us and keeps pushing us into disastrous economic situations, disastrous conflicts on top of that? Or do we want to, I don't know, maybe reconsider whether it makes more sense to focus on ourselves and making our country better and continuing alliances with long-standing, friends of ours who have helped us. It's a 50-50 thing. You give and take. I don't see a lot of giving from Israel, but I do see a lot of taking.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.